have been told by people that I am at my best hosting a radio show when I am angry. I don't know what that says about what I am like when I'm in the company of others, but my goodness. I was trying to think up a word to describe just how pathetically awful that loss on Saturday was to a team that you had no business losing to. I don't care if they have the best defense in the NFL. John Wofford, Jared Goff with a busted thumb, Aaron Donald missing for half the game. You lost convincingly. You didn't just lose. You got your butts kicked. And the word that I came up with instead of embarrassing was mortifying. I say mortifying because mortifying is a word that means causing great embarrassment or shame. It also refers to being affected by gangrene or necrosis because the Seahawks were dead on arrival in that game. Again, which we're so used to now, and I suppose we're supposed to accept. I know a lot of people have told me over the years that I should just expect things to happen because you can't win the game in the first or the second or the third or the fourth quarter. And I'm not even pointing at Pete Carroll as far as that. I'm just tired of being told, just be patient. It'll be fine. No, it won't. And they better have learned that lesson forever going forward because that was just such a pathetic display offensively. I get it. You've played some great defenses recently. But you have one of the best quarterbacks in the game. If I'm not mistaken, at least number 2 overall going into this season. And as the year went on, your offense got worse and worse and worse. Meanwhile, we see on Saturday night, right after the Seahawks had the most disappointing loss of the playoffs, Tom Brady, who was 1,000 years old, throwing all over that Washington football team defense that Russell Wilson had such issues doing it against. Tom Brady. I think Russell Wilson's better than Tom Brady at this point in his career. Maybe I'm mistaken in thinking that. And now here we are, staring ahead at an offseason because of a football team that over the last 5 years has only been able to finagle playoff wins over teams that don't really matter. You beat the Minnesota Vikings on a missed field goal. You beat the Lions, who are the worst organization in the history of the NFL. And you beat the Philadelphia Eagles with Josh McCown under center. And now, for the first time since I've started covering this team, I legitimately feel cynical about the future. And you know where I came from. I came from the epitome of hell when it comes to football. I came from Houston. And you see what's going on there. Okay, it's not that bad. But if you're one of the best football teams in the NFL, one of the best franchises in the NFL, which going into Saturday, I was of that belief, you actually make it to the first round of the playoffs because I don't think that wild card round matters. I don't think it's a real round of the playoffs. If you're a good team, you make it to the second. Oh, but Paul, things have changed now. Only one team gets a bye. I don't care. If you're a good team, you get to the second round of the playoffs because any arrogant sports fan should believe that's where they begin. And guess what? You couldn't even get there. Sad. Ugh. I know, I sound angry right now. I don't like sounding angry. I really don't. You know, it's one of those things where you look back at your career and you think to yourself, have I always just been this guy? Have I always been the cynical, obnoxious, angry person all the time? Because again, as I said earlier, you don't want to be that person, but that's all I can feel like right now. I mean, yesterday, I didn't even want to watch football. Nope, not at all. Instead, I decided, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to eat a whole box of Oreo Thins, and then I'm going to eat a whole box of White Castle frozen sliders, and then I'm going to eat a whole bag of frozen fries. I'm also going to drink a couple of Pacificos and perhaps have an Ardbeg Scotch. This is one of those games where I don't know if I want to watch the rest of the playoffs. Do you? Because you should be playing next weekend against the New Orleans Saints. I don't know what would have happened in that game. I really don't, but wow. And you know what? It all boils down to this for me. Your offense got worse as the season went along. Your offense got worse as the season went along last year. Last year, you thought it was because of injuries. This year, who do you point the blame at? Is it at Russell Wilson for not being able to execute a game plan that the Seahawks were putting out there for him? It might be. I mean, he stunk yesterday. Saturday. I keep on forgetting. That was 48 hours ago. I suppose it's better that it was 48 hours ago because I probably would be yelling louder than I am right now. Then, You take a look at their offensive coordinator, and this was a frustrating answer that we got from Pete Carroll. I do not know how you can justify another season of Russell Wilson and Brian Schottenheimer together, just given the way that it ended. And it stinks. I mean, the NFL, it is a brutal, vicious league. And Brian Schottenheimer looked awesome at the beginning of this year and was getting some serious head coaching consideration. Supposedly, the Houston Texans were interested in his services. I don't know what that says about the Texans again, but now we're at a point where you finish the season like that. Yes, you played good defenses, but shouldn't a direction be on the top? A direction change perhaps be something that comes to mind? I asked Pete Carroll about that just moments ago on the Pete Carroll Show about the future of Brian Schottenheimer. Here's what he had to say.
Yes, we scored more points than any team in the history of the franchise. And now it was weighted early in the year for sure, and we did not score like we had been earlier. We were at a torrid pace early on. So we found a lot of good stuff. We struggled down the end to overcome the teams we were playing. We didn't match up with the kind of performances that we would like to have continued with. But as we came on defensively, I adjusted assumptions to make sure that we were really taking care of the football, knowing that we could win some games by the way we were playing defense, which is you've seen us do that for 10 years.
Yes. Brian Schottenheimer's coming back. We had the best offense that we've ever had. Not in the second half of the year. No, you didn't. No, you did not. And I like Pete Carroll, but ultimately this falls on him too. I mean, this is your offense. And if you take a look historically, the Seahawks have not been good on third downs for now like 5 years. Going back to the end of the 2015 season where Russell Wilson was awesome, they were fourth in the NFL in third down conversions that year. They have been bottom half of the NFL in every single season since then. So part of me is not even sure that I can point it at Brian Schottenheimer, because part of me thinks that this just might be a symptom of teams that have Pete Carroll as the head coach. And if the offense that you bring in with a new offensive coordinator is tied to the hip to Pete Carroll, are they actually going to be allowed to do things that are any different? This is going to be a long offseason. A longer offseason than last offseason where we were talking about Jadeveon Clowney every 5 seconds. I would kill to talk about Jadeveon Clowney right now. Alas. I guess maybe we can, though. Because he's going to be a free agent.